That woke up my tinnitus. Good morning. My name is Jeff Stevens, and I will be serving as your worship associate. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Gainesville. And we're so glad to see you here on one of our hot and humid summer Sundays here in Florida. I am wearing today a red Hawaiian shirt with little parrots and green leaves and black slacks and shoes that are a little scuffed from yard work and some cactus socks that my daughter gave me earlier this year. I'm so glad to see all of you here today, and welcome. And so let's take a moment to center ourselves in this space. So if we could, plant your feet firmly on the ground, and then take a deep breath, and then exhale. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, and exhale. Let all of the worries that we have from our lives outside of this sanctuary float away for the next hour as we spend time together in community and in love. Lighting our chalice this morning will be Doris Hargrave. And our chalice lighting words come from a poem by T.R.S. called When I Was Chef. Please do it and get it done and be serious and have fun and enliven those around you to be their best. Never rest, never settle. Let your world be determined by worth and metal. Meddle in every affair. Detail every error. Never backpedal or be caught unaware.
Good morning. My name is James Chase, and I am the Director of Lifespan Faith Development here at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Gainesville. I am so glad to see so many wonderful faces here today, and I am so glad to see some kids here today. They are both mine. We usually do have more kids, but today we've got some light programming, and now my childcare staff is cursing me because those are the magic words that bring the children. It has been such an amazing couple of weeks, and I am so thrilled to be here with you. When we come into this space, there are so many moving parts and pieces that are working together to create the presentations that you see on Sunday. And some of those parts are, as you come in, you may have passed a green table with a table with a green tablecloth, and that is our welcome table. If this is your first time here, please feel free to stop by during coffee hour and visit and say hi to folks. And after service, we'd like to invite you into the sanctuary where our youth group are having a bake sale table. It's not really a bake sale, it's more of a baked offering, where all of the items are free. People are welcome to just enjoy. Donations are also welcome as they are generously offered. Those offerings will go to them having a really, really good time. They'd like to plan a trip to Wild Adventures, so they're fundraising for some last-minute summer adventures. Yes? Of course. Come up. We're having a last-moment announcement. Thank you, Judith.
Hi, I'm Judith Kindle, and I coordinate the Path to Membership for the Fellowship. And last Sunday, I had 7 amazing, enthusiastic people at the newcomer orientation that I run once a month. And and there's one of the people who attended it. And at the end of the session, they said, this was really great, but we didn't have a chance to get acquainted. So I thought about that, and this morning we're going to try something new. Next to the green tablecloth table is another green tablecloth table with a sign that says, New UUs. If you're new to this congregation and you want to get acquainted with each other, get your coffee and come to that table and sit and talk and get acquainted. It's reserved for those folks, but if you're not a new UU person and you want to get acquainted with new people, you can come to that table too. It's a round table right next to the visitor information table. Thanks.
Thank you, Judith. So I'm going to go ahead and read the opening words that I have, and I love how well they fit for what we have. We gather not because we're the same, but because we are held by shared hopes, shared questions, and shared commitments. May this time together open us to wonder, to gratitude, to healing, to love, and to the quiet strength of our community. And I'm talking too fast. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, please join us as you are willing and able in singing hymn number 128 in our great hymnals, For All That Is Our Life.
I'm back. All right, we have a really fun book today for the Moment for All Ages. I'd like to invite our kiddos to look forward to the big screens, or you can come sit closer if you want. Our story today is one that is just fun and joyful and silly and good. It's called The Bakery Dragon by Devin Ellie Kurtz. Isn't that so cute? Look at that little dragon in the window. This book makes me hungry. It's a good day for it. We have a lot of snacks after coffee, at coffee hour. Look at how pretty that gold is. Doesn't that look nice? There are lots of shiny things in there. The Bakery Dragon. There is nothing a dragon loves more than gold. Ember wished he had his own treasure to guard. Hey, get off my hoard. How'd you get all this gold anyway? Come see for yourself. The slides are out of order. Sorry, guys. We're going to skip that page. Blaze's method did seem quite effective. We're going to skip this page. There we go. Oh no, that's how Blaze got his treasure? By scaring people and taking their money? Oh man, look at them and just throwing it behind them. So Ember found some stray villagers, and he puffed the biggest, scariest flame he could muster. Unfortunately, it was a very small flame. How adorable! Don't feed it, or it'll never leave you alone. At dusk, the other dragons flew back home with their spoils. Ember didn't want to follow empty-handed. Just then, Ember spied a glimmer of gold down in the foggy village. He raced towards it, his hope kindling in his heart. But it was only a street lamp. He wandered the darkening streets, drawn towards a golden glow from around the corner. But it was only a window. Ember's feet were too heavy to take him any further. He curled up in the blanket of a warm light and fell asleep. But as he was sleeping, a raging storm blew into town. "You'd better come inside or you'll be washed off the mountain." And he raced in there. Look at how cozy that room is. "You can wait out the storm here in my bakery." Villagers didn't usually like dragons on account of all of the theft, but this one seemed different. "Why don't you come give me a hand? Wash up first." So the dragon goes and washes his hands, and she hands him some dough. "Push with your whole body, you've got it." She's teaching him how to make something. Ember's big hands may have been too clumsy for a gold thief, but they were perfectly suited for this. Ooh. Even his tiny flame sufficed to light the wood stove. Ember watched, full of wonder, as the gooey blobs of dough transformed like magic into shining gold. Ember didn't know you could make gold. "This tray is for you." Back home, it looks like Ember flew home with his pile of gold. Back home, curled on top of his toasty golden hoard, Ember felt a pang of sadness. He missed the bakery, but when he closed his eyes, it smelled like he hadn't left. It smelled tasty, too. The baker's gold was like nothing he'd ever tasted before. Munch. It was buttery, rich, crunchy, yet soft. It was glorious. Soon the delectable smell drew visitors. "Can we have a taste of your gold, Ember?" "Just one bite each." Unfortunately, Ember did not account for the sizes of their bites. "I'll give you 10 gold coins if you bring back more." "I'll give you 100. I'll give you anything." Their pleading gave Ember an idea. The baker was not so sure. "My customers aren't fond of you and your friends. You've done an awful lot of stealing." They brought a lot of gold, and she says, "On second thought, come on in." So Ember brings his friends into the bakery, and he shows them how to wash their hands. He shows them how to mix the dough, how to stretch it out, how to cover it so it has time to rise, and how to beat it back down so it's just right. And they all get to work making bread. Because there is nothing a dragon loves more than gold. But as it turns out, they went back to their cave, packed up all that gold, and brought it back to the village because they found out that baking gold is better than taking it, and sharing it is best of all. The end.
Our reading today comes from a poem entitled Food by Brenda Hillman. Across from us, females of all ages surround the birthday girl. Her pale lace and insufficient being can't keep them out of her circle. Stripes of yellow and brown all over the place. The poor in spirit have started to arrive, the one with thick Midwestern braids twisted like thought on her head. Usually she brings her mother, but this week no mother. She mouths the words anyway across the table. Space mama, time mama, mama who should be there. Families in line, imagine all this. Translated by the cry of time moving through us, this place a rubble. The gardens new generations will plant in this spot, and the food will go on in another order. This thought cheers me immensely, that we will be there together, you still 7, bending over the crops, pretending to be royalty, that the huge woman with one blind eye and dots like eyes all over her dress will also be there, eating with pleasure as she eats now, right up to the tissue paper, peeling it back like bright, exotic petals. You smile over your burger, chattering brightly. So often, at our sunny kitchen table, hearing the mantra of the refrigerator, I've thought there was nothing I could do but feed you. And I've always loved the way that you eat. You eat selfishly, humming, bending the French fries to your will, your brown eyes spotting everything. The tall boy who has come in with his mother, repressed rage, and now carries the tray for her. Oh, this is fun, says the mother. You stand there with mommy's purse, and he stands there smiling after her, holding all the patience in the world. Each week, we invite the members of our congregation and our friends to sign our Joys and Concerns book. We believe that a joy shared is multiplied and that a concern shared is divided. This week, we have one message in our book from Susan Stannard, who says that her niece's husband has made a miraculous recovery from his motorcycle accident, and that is joyous news. There are many joys and sorrows which we keep within our hearts that are not shared within the book. And at this time, we would invite you to come forward to our communal water bowl and drop a stone into the water to symbolize those thoughts that you have inside and to send thoughts to those who are not with us that you are thinking of. Following that, Liz Stewart will drop 2 stones in there to represent the people who have joined us online who cannot physically put a stone in themselves. Before the invitation to generosity, I did miss one note in the Joys and Concerns. I'd like to welcome our visitor, Paul Newman, here today. Paul, thank you for joining us. Oh, there's Paul. In practicing generosity, as I get to my notes, in practicing generosity, gratitude, and active hope, we experience our interconnectedness, the ways we are not isolated beings but held in a vast web of connections and a field of life, blessed by gifts beyond our own making. Your financial gifts help this congregation fulfill its promise of helping to heal a broken world. Please look at the screens for the QR codes if you'd like to donate electronically. And whatever gifts that you give, through your contributions, your acts, or your presence, know that they are gratefully received.
I love when I have the opportunity to get up and talk to everybody, talk to the grown-ups. I talk a lot to kids here, and that is a joy of its own. But it is such a pleasure to be here and to have an opportunity to kind of speak to this group and update with what the learning is with me personally and with the UUA and with the kids, and just kind of come together and unify a little bit. It feels important, so I'm grateful. Today especially, I am coming across a little scrambled, and I want to express gratitude for the grace there too. I'm coming home from a week-long trip to North Carolina, which was my first time traveling anywhere. It was my first time driving, and it's left me in a little bit of a processing space, so I appreciate the grace there as well. In past sermons and in past times when I've had the opportunity to speak, I've built a metaphor, and I've kind of been working on this metaphor of talking about communities as gardens. And this metaphor comes from reading and talking to friends and gathering from different ideas, and I think it's a really beautiful way to illustrate what a community can be. It can be like a garden, which is a place for people or plants with similar needs and similar values and similar goals to gather with shared purpose and create a haven where all of the needs can be met, where through the work of being together, there is safety. In communities like this, they should be able to sustain more than what any one plant could on their own. In this garden metaphor, there is a purpose to having more than one kind of garden. Some plants thrive in moist soil. Some people want richness and emotion, and some people don't. And it's okay for there to be different kinds of gardens, to be a home for different kinds of people. Some gardens act as a place for plants with a strong sense of purpose and a strong sense of justice. And some are for producing and creating vegetables and food with a purpose. Some gardens are for beauty and for just existing as they are. And some, like my own, are sprawling and messy, where the gardener sometimes forgets to water regularly and only very sturdy plants would thrive. I'm talking about my literal garden here, not community, I hope. All gardens are wonderful, and all plants are worthy of having a space where they can thrive. It's better for this world to have all of the different types of gardens, even if some of them would not fit me personally very well. And now I appreciate you taking the time to kind of get caught up on that metaphor, because I'm going to pivot entirely, and now we're going to talk about kitchens. We're going to keep a lot of those same underlying ideas, but we're going to apply it to a kitchen with maybe multiple chefs, maybe one strong chef, and we're going to talk about ingredients. In this metaphor, because I am a stories thinker and I think in images and metaphors all the time, I'm going to think about people as their own ingredients in a community. Each of us brings something specific, something unique that is shaped by our lived experience, and it's shaped by our ancestors and where we came from. It's shaped by our genetics and our biology. It is shaped by all of the things that make us who we are. And all of those things make us our own unique flavor. Some people with high tolerance and high resilience might be salt and pepper people. Flour, butter, milk, yeast, classic, reliable people who show up in many, many recipes. And those folks, you can spot them. You know who they are. You see our ushers greeting people in every Sunday. You see our worship team working hard to create these beautiful services. And those folks will find their home in many different communities. They will find that they are needed everywhere that they go. Every community really needs salt and pepper people. If a community wants to be able to create something, we need reliability. We need those ingredients. In our particular kitchen, we've decided that we are Unitarian Universalist, which means that we have classified our type of kitchen. That's more like the tools that we use. And in this metaphor, I'm going to say we're bakers. We bake in this kitchen. And I know nothing about baking, so just follow along. We're working with certain tools or certain values. We have justice, equity, transformation, plurality, interconnectedness, and generosity. Those might be our tools that we work with, our things that we would bake with, bowls probably, you know. And love at the center, that could be our oven. That could be the thing that creates the transformation, that turns all of these ingredients into something amazing. With just only the salt, butter, flour, yeast, milk people, we could probably make a really solid loaf of bread. We could probably make pancakes. We could, you don't bake those, but you know, it's a metaphor. You could make some things with those recipes, right? But as a community grows, we will find more and more that not everyone in the room is salt and pepper people. We might have star anise, or vanilla bean paste, or lemon zest. We might have poppy seeds, and we might have like a can of soda sitting in the corner. And we wouldn't use those ingredients traditionally in a loaf of bread. They're not needed in every recipe, and they might be a little difficult to work with starting out. You might have to get used to that as an ingredient on the shelf. But when the right dish calls for them, there is nothing else like these people. They shine, they really bring something unique and amazing that changes the world. It makes our kitchen different from all of the other baking kitchens out there, and that is incredible. I believe deeply that the best communities are ones that don't just cook the same recipes over and over and over again. It's good to have reliability and sustainability, but goodness, it is amazing to try things out. And sometimes the recipe doesn't work out, and that's okay too. The best communities take the time to get to know each other, get to know the ingredients they're in the room with. Usually they're not top-down kitchens where one person or a few people are saying, this is what we need and this is what we need you to be. But instead, it has leadership where people are looking at that kitchen and looking at those ingredients and saying, oh, what about this? Looking at that big picture and saying, man, we could make some really, really cool muffins today. And it's a skill, but I think we have some really good leaders too. And I want to pause for a second because in a volunteer-led community like ours, and volunteer-run, everything is so volunteer-based. When we talk about cooking together, we're really talking about getting involved. We're talking about getting to know each other and the deepening of those connections. Volunteering is a tricky thing to talk about, especially when it's not well structured, because when you commit to volunteering, sometimes it can feel like you're being pulled in and that you can't get out, that you won't have your needs met because you're giving and giving and giving, and that is difficult. I think that when we are, as a community, going through transitions, we're going from having a minister to not having a minister for a year. There can be a lot of tension and a lot of worry about what will that look like? How can things continue on if our cook just left the kitchen? How can we possibly continue on? And there is some joy in the not knowing. There is some joy to be found in that big question, because there's also the certainty that we get to build. This community is full of ingredients who know who they are and know what they need. And we have some really solid leadership. We have folks who have been here for a long time. Leaders who will look around and notice who's in the room, notice the meals that need to be cooked. And if all of the ingredients that are jumping off the shelves to be used are just those few same salt and pepper people, that's going to be a difficult kitchen to run. That's like trying to make a meal to nourish a kitchen full of people with only 3 ingredients. It can be done. I mean, this congregation has done it before. It can happen. But it might not be as interesting or engaging for those ingredients who are still sitting on the shelf. Because the joy of being in the kitchen is giving and participating and being involved. Being part of the recipe, being part of the creation is such a magical thing that I think a lot of people need. As we head into this upcoming year, you're going to, if you're on the news and needs listserv, you're going to be getting emails from me. And they will say, we need volunteers in this area. And they'll say, fill out this form to tell me what kind of, whimsy groups you want. Do you want to be part of a baking group? Do you want to be part of a karaoke group? Fill out those forms so you can be an ingredient in that soup. And this extends past my little corner of the congregation, which is really religious education. This is everything to do with this congregation, and even beyond that. And we're going to go ahead and get into the have your cake and eat it too part of this talk. That is usually said as you cannot have your cake and eat it too. You can't have both. And I think in some situations, there is truth to that idea. But I think that in this situation, in this kitchen, we absolutely can have our cake and we can eat it. And it's hard, because how can you sit in a kitchen and decide that now it's time to make chocolate chip cookies, which will be tasty and joyful and will be a fun thing when you look out the window and the world's on fire. When you look at the big picture of things and you say, how can any of this matter? How could karaoke groups possibly matter? When other kitchens are putting out food that feels like poison. When other ingredients are being told that they can't be in those kitchens because they're bad ingredients. It's really hard to decide that baking the cookies is something that matters. Isn't it wrong to feel good and to feel joyful when everything feels wrong? It feels incompatible. You can't have your cake and eat it too. But we know that we can have our cake. We can together build a community. In this building, in this space, we absolutely can. Nobody can tell us we can't. We can build a community that is warm and nourishing and has a warm, love at the center stove where folks are welcome to come experiment with their recipes. We can be playful and creative, and we can be dedicated to love. We can decide to align ourselves with the values that we believe in, regardless of what is happening outside of our kitchen. We can feed ourselves. We can feed the people here. And we can create a sanctuary where others can come to. We can take the time to rest and nourish ourselves so that when we wake up in the mornings, we have the energy to go out and feed others outside of our kitchen, to tell them about the awesome things we're cooking up in here, and to let them know that even if the world is on fire, even when the world is on fire, there is a place where we want all of the ingredients who want to be here in good faith, even the ones who have fewer and fewer kitchens that they can turn to. If we base our measure of success on the big picture problems, world hunger, climate change, systematic injustice, we will probably in our lifetimes never feel well. We risk burning out, we risk falling into despair and hopelessness, and it will be overwhelming. It will feel hopeless. Sometimes there will be victories, but the world is big, and we are ingredients on a shelf. If we need our sense of wellness, if we need the big picture to fall into place for us to feel okay, we might not ever feel okay again. And what would ever be the point of making cookies? But if we focus on what we have here in this kitchen, what we have in ourselves, and we only focus on that, that might not be the answer either, because then we're becoming insular. Then we become closed, and we block out the things that make us unhappy, and that might not be what we want to do either. Doing the small things matter. Setting up chairs here at the sanctuary, it matters. Coming in for hospitality an hour early and bringing food for coffee hour, it matters. Baking cupcakes for youth group bake sales and bringing ponies to the playground, these things matter. These things build up the resilience of those in our kitchen. They build up the resilience and the sense of purpose of those ingredients on the shelf. It builds hope. They help us to know what our limits are, to know where we fit in a kitchen so that when we are called to act in other kitchens, we know just what to do, just what we're capable of, and we have the experience of baking so that we can bring our experience to other kitchens as well. What I believe about this community and what I maybe believe about all communities is that we're not actually meant to save the world all by ourselves. We are not meant to make the big picture be what we want it to be. We are here to be a place where people can remember that they matter, that they matter intrinsically on their own, just by being star anise, just by being a little pot of yeast, just by being who they are. They matter, and they are worthy of a kitchen that needs what they have to offer. That they are an ingredient in something so much bigger than themselves, that the recipe and the baking is the point, the cooking, the creation is the thing that we can bring into the world. If you are here in this room or online or anywhere sitting and thinking that you don't matter, I want you to know that you do. You just do matter. Just by being where you are, being where your feet are. You matter and you are worthy. My invitation today is simple, and it is the beginning of work that I want to continue into the new year, which will largely be by emails in the listserv, so please open those and fill out the forms. Ask yourself, what ingredient am I? In this community, what flavor do I bring? What nourishment do I need to be able to be part of an ingredient? What recipes do I want to be part of? Where do you want to show up? If you find yourself brimming with ideas and energy, reach out, find the people, share those ideas, be in community, go talk to people at coffee hour, be here. There will be something for you, I promise. If you have that energy, this is a place for it. If you find yourself feeling guilty or ashamed because you're empty right now, and because looking out that window and seeing the world on fire has scooped you empty, and right now you are an empty jar on the shelf, that's okay too. You are still welcome here exactly as you are. Soak it in. Be where the love is. Feel the warmth from that oven. That love at the center matters. And you are meant to be here too. We want you in this kitchen, and we want to share a slice of cake with you, even if you didn't add anything to the making of it. We are building this kitchen together. And I am so excited to see what amazing things we make. Thank you.
Now please join us as you are willing and able in singing hymn 1028 in your teal hymnal, The Fire of Commitment.
Wait. Okay. As we leave our shared time here, may the light we kindle here guide our steps. May the love that we affirm here move with us out into the world. Go out knowing that you are worthy, you are needed, you are never alone. Blessed be. Thank you, Jeff, and amen. With my truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment that we carry in our hearts until we are together again.